Here's the thing about owning your shit and sitting with yourself and documenting your journey and really showing up is that the things that come up, the reality that comes up versus the desired state or the aspired state can be really confronting. In this season, I've been talking about moving from survival to sovereignty. And yet in the reality of being in the journey and being activated and awake, is that I'm not even at survival yet. I'm still in crisis and chaos and feast or famine. I haven't even, most days, I'm not even at survival level. I'm still swinging. I'm still operating from autopilot, burnout, self-abandonment, shutdown when things don't come through. And this is what I want to yarn with you about today in terms of going, when you start to show up and own your shit and you are starting to actively meet yourself where you are and you are being guided from where you are to where you want to be. It's about building bridges. It's about micro actions. It's about imprinting. And yes, it's being with the reality of what comes up versus the aspired state. If you are new here, my name is Chantel Thompson and I'm a proud Barkindji Yimpa woman, and I am dreaming and weaving the warrior heart, grassroots to global, creating communities, documenting the journey, showing up in real time around what the warrior heart means and activating that and sharing that with you through my own experience as the example, as the journey, creating communities over on School for you to join me. So if this is resonating with you in any way, hit crisis or chaos or survival mode in the comments. Hit like or subscribe to this account. Share it with someone that you like or know or love or needs this. Or if you're being really brave and this is really speaking to you, come and join me over in my school community, the Warrior Heart Activation School, where we do the deeper work, where we activate, where we have a community of people walking this journey. And if I speak to you or my energy speaks to you and you want to know more, why don't you book a one-to-one call with me so we can actually see what's getting in the way of your warrior heart? Because I know that for me, walking this journey alone is just not possible. Being in community, having people who guide me, and the people who guide me or who are my mentors and my coaches and my therapists aren't always people that I pay or work with directly in real time. I work with them through their books, through their YouTube videos, through being in their school communities, because sometimes that's the only way that's available to us. And I had to really sit with this and reframe it from a strength-based perspective, and rather than weaponizing this new level of awareness against myself. And when it came up, instead of allowing shame and guilt and grief to be the focus of going, how much time have I lost? Look, I keep trying and I keep failing. It was like, no. Look at how many times I choose to get back up. Look at how many times my purpose calls me home or calls me forward. And the fact that this has been a way of life, this has been role model to me. This is generational patterns of behavior, of burnout, of self-abandonment, of survival mode, of crisis and chaos. Like, my nan was really good at survival mode. My nan was so good at survival mode. She was a mechanic during the war. She was born during the Depression. She married a man who was in a convalescent home, my grandfather. She married my grandfather after he got out of the war, and he went on to have and develop severe PTSD. Nan had 5 kids. My dad is the youngest of her 5 kids, and he's the youngest by 6 years. That's a story for another day. But Nan always said to me, if you have food on the table, someone to love you, and a roof over your head, then you don't really have problems. You have an opportunity. You have good foundations to show up from. You have everything you need to survive. And then love them to death, my parents and other adults around me. Role modeled more crisis and chaos and feast or famine ways of living, is that when they got the resources, they just went through them, or they think. And then when we're in famine, it was kind of like, okay, we have a roof, we have food, like was a lot of anxiety, a lot of scarcity, a lot of love, and a lot of trying, but not a lot of ability to self-regulate and ground and make decisions from a legacy point of view, a regulated point of view. It was very reactionary way of life. We had a very fractured childhood where there wasn't a lot of stability emotionally, mentally, physically, financially. I know my parents did the best they could with what they had, and yet it wasn't always what we needed. So how can I judge myself for doing generational work, changing generational inherited, learnt patterns, lived patterns of, and this is safe, this is normal at a nervous system level, this is also a narrative of this is what I'm allowed to have. And that anytime I stray outside of that, I get judged for that, I get questioned about that. So it's a fact that I've kept trying all these years, and it's about being able to move from knowing to being and doing. And just because I know something and aspire for something doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to have the safety or the resources or the stability to create the change, to self-regulate myself, that I can respond to those moments where I'm pulled back into old patterns. And the fact that despite the shame and the guilt and the grief and the constant falling down, my purpose has kept calling me back, has kept waking me up, has never left me stuck. And this is me recording this at 6 a.m. in the morning in my pajamas, because I just felt so compelled and called to document this moment and to speak this truth. And that honoring this as a sacred skill, a sacred moment, the fact that I'm brave enough and I'm willing to document this journey in real time, to build out loud, and that, survival is the desired state right now. Stability is the desired state right now. So what it is about documenting what is crisis and chaos look like right now. It is about taking time to journal in those moments and ground myself in culture and ceremony, in asking the ancestors for guidance and wisdom. And it's about anchoring myself in going, okay, this is the current state. It's not about how I feel about it. It's not about making a story about it. It's about going, what is the reality right now? What is the current state? How much do I have in my bank account? What does my home life look like? What does my calendar look like? Anchoring myself and going, you're creating patterns, you're creating behavioral change. This is going to take time. It's going to take resources. It's going to take strength and commitment. And when I started to accept that this was what I was building from, I hesitated to record this. I hesitated to own my shit. And yet this is exactly what the warrior heart is about. It's about owning your shit. In order to get to a point where I'm standing in my power, I'm being my truth, and I'm following my heart, and then I'm moving at the pace of peace and trust and deep conviction as my currency, that I am chosen and called for this. It's about building a bridge. It's about imprinting the identity of the person, the woman who is that version of me, and building the bridge from where I am to where she is, to who she is, and taking the moments, micro actions, and trusting that one small, no matter how micro that moment, that step is, if I can do that micro action grounded in safety, that my nervous system feels safe, that my mind believes that this is possible, that I'm worthy, I'm allowed, I'm safe, and going, okay, I've got this task. Like doing a budget, for example, is something I've never had. And yet, rather than trying to figure out why I've never had a budget or why I've never been able to do it, because I've tried that before and I shut down, it's like, okay, accepting that version of me has never done this before. What version of me, what can I do in 15 minutes to take, rather than trying to do a whole budget all at once? It's like, okay, what's one section of my budget that I can do or get aware of? Can I look at 1 month of transactions and start to document where my spending is going? Documenting 1 month of my calendar to do an audit of where my time is going. And spending just 15 minutes doing that rather than blocking out a whole hour. Because if I'm shutting down, rather than shaming myself and going, oh, that's not going to help anything. So it's about going, okay, what can I do? And how small of a step do I need to break this task down into that I feel safe, that I believe it's possible, and that I'll take action grounded in and called by the vision of the change that I'm calling in, of the next level. I might have this big vision that I have, but what is the next level that feels safe, that feels allowed, that feels obtainable in a way that's going to create progress from here to here, no matter how small. And for me, the weaving moments are about connection, are about clarity, are about conviction. It's about trust and peace. as the things that I'm anchoring, as the things that I'm moving my vibe from. And when I'm not in peace and trust, what energy am I in, and how is that guiding my actions and my thoughts from that moment? Because I had to stop defining these moments as failure, and that the fact that I'm stopping and starting as proof or evidence that I'm not capable, that I'm not worthy, that I'm not willing, that I'm lazy, whatever it is. I had to redefine them as sacred moments of the weight of the generational change that I'm trying to make, that I'm making, not trying. And I had to sit with everything that I've carried in my life, that I've experienced. And that even with all of that, all the things, all the moments that I've had that have mattered, that the moments that are evidence that I chose my purpose, that I'm called, that I'm chosen, that I've kept getting up again no matter how many times I've fallen. And that this becomes the receipts and proof that my purpose keeps calling me back, that these are moments to honor. And rather than counting how many times I fell down as the evidence base, counting how many times I got back up, not the distance between, not the time between the fall and the getting back up, but the fact that I got back up. And this is the messy reality of doing this work in real time, of activating my own warrior heart in my experience, was sitting in these moments where I'm choosing owning my shit and peace and trust as what I'm moving with, having difficult conversations, not just setting a boundary, but holding a boundary. And if it resonates with my truth and it keeps me well, and refusing to take or make decisions or actions that take me away from myself or take me away from being well, or abandoning myself, as what are my governing decisions about how I'm showing up and how I'm moving in this season, is so important and has been so foundational to the progress. And actually, as I started to sit down and go, holy shit, I'm not even surviving. Like, yeah, I'm still here, but crisis and chaos, like what sort of home environment is that creating for my kids? What sort of work environment is that creating for my team? What kind of environment is that creating for me? Jesus, no wonder. Damn, no wonder I am overwhelmed and tired and burnt out and questioning myself. When I acknowledge what I'm building and moving and healing from, it allows me to get excited. It allows me to be gently proud of myself and vulnerable enough to meet myself and go, you know what? You're still here. You're still trying, and that takes such strength and courage. And that's what I'm moving from, is that it's messy, is that I'm doing this in my pajamas. I don't have makeup on. I don't feel cute or like on brand. This is me documenting the journey because I want to own this, but I'm also planting this here as much for you as I am for me. If you are still here, please comment below, planting a seed. And if this is resonating with you, hit subscribe, or like I said, come and check out my school community, because I know what it is to do this work in real time. I know what it is to have a desire for change and yet be weighed down by the reality of going, I don't have what it takes. I don't have the time to create change. Yet I also know the consequences of staying the same, repeating the patterns and looking up a month from now, 6 months from now, years from now, and going, I'm still here, but yet I've repeated patterns that have kept me stuck. Recognizing moments where you could have chosen something differently, and yet you chose your past and your pain over your purpose and your potential. And everything that comes from that knowledge. And having the courage to use that knowledge and sit with it, not to judge yourself. There's a difference between accountability and judgment. And being accountable is going, yeah, I could have created change back then. What would have been different? What are the consequences? And yet, where am I now? And what can I do right now? What is a task or something, a step that I can take? A pain that is holding me back, or something that is calling me forward that I can take now? And if that step that you look at feels too big, breathe into that, anchor yourself in your body and go, what is the smallest version of that task that I can take that will allow me to move forward, that will allow me to, hey son, that will allow me to meet the moment for what it is, rather than shutting down and create that change. The early mornings before the days pull me away, it's about the fact that I know that early mornings are the only time that I really have that on my own, because nighttime I'm too tired. I'm building resilience, I'm building endurance in that space. So early mornings for me is the time where I can anchor myself. I can do my journaling. I can go to the gym. I can do the my me work before life pulls me away, because I'm still building the life that I want to have, the calendar, the resources, the team that reflects what needs to be in place for the vision to be possible. So right now, here and now, it's the days of dogs getting out, maintenance calls to fix up my rental property, appointments with the kids, driving the kids to and from school, the parenting admin, life admin. These are all things that take up that time, that 8 till 8 p.m. Those 12 hours is usually focused on that. So the hours between 10 and 12 p.m. and 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. are usually the times, the windows that I have to build in the background, to document in the background, to build the website, to build the content, to record the content, to do the work, to book it in, to create the bridges. This is what I'm celebrating. And this is what I'm honoring, is those small unseen acts of sovereignty. When I choose to anchor myself in the foundations, that being well is the foundations for my wealth, is that grounding myself in culture, in journaling, in doing the inner work of creating neurological change, creating nervous system regulation, anchoring myself in the vision and that clarity, in the spirituality, the things that I need to do and who I need to become in order for that future to become possible, because I am the person who can hold it, who can steward it, and who can amplify it through me and beyond me, for me and by me. And that I am moving from at the pace of peace and trust and easily aligned and abundant as a way of being. This is my season of inner peace. And yet, in order to get to inner peace, it's both a skill and it's both a season. And the fact that doing the work is not about being polished or perfect. It's about progress. It's about holding space for what is, what happened, and what am I going to do now that creates the potential for tomorrow to become possible, because it's showing up when those cracks happen. It's about when I shut down, how can I create a faster bounce back? It's also about these different terms that are becoming natural states of being, like anti-fragility. So rather than resilience of bouncing back, it's about becoming anti-fragile, in that the things that happen are things that build me up. The hardships, the challenges, the wins, anything that makes me feel fragile is about working on that area so that it becomes a strength, it becomes a resource rather than a risk. And that when those moments happen, I'm choosing micro actions. I'm choosing to imprint from that higher version of myself. And it's about rising and coming home as many times as I need until that next level becomes the new norm, until the rising, the becoming has happened. And when I move from crisis and chaos and feast and famine into survival, it's about settling in there, but not staying there. It's about going, okay, I'm here, I've done the work. And then settling again, and then looking around again, taking that eagle viewpoint and taking that higher viewpoint and go, okay, now that I'm here, now that this feels safe, now that it's normal, now that this is the standard, what's the next level look like? And it's these incremental increases. It's the building and the weaving of the identities at a level that my nervous system feels safe and doesn't shut down, in a way that my brain believes is possible, whilst building that trust in that bigger vision and calling. This is how the work is done. This is what it takes to own your shit and to move from survival into sovereignty in real time. This is what it is to live and be the warrior heart in your own journey. And I think for me, a saying that hurts me, but I know is going to set me free, is that you are right on time, is that I'm not behind, I'm becoming. And again, when I start to look at what I'm building from, what has been my norm and where did these patterns come from, I'm releasing, letting go of needing to understand the why behind them, rather than the fact that they are there, where they have come from and how long they've been there, and the fact that these are imprinted patterns. These are generational patterns that I was born with, but I've also lived through. So if I'm going to create change, it's about owning the fact that it's going to take time. and I'm not even going to hold on to what time looks like. It could be a moment, could be a month, it could be a year. And that stopping and starting is a part of the becoming, and that every micro step is a weaving of a thread, is a building of that bridge. So if you're in crisis or chaos right now, or if you're in survival mode and you're done with burnout, you're done with survival mode, you're done with autopilot or self-abandonment as a way of being, come and join me, come and walk with me, come and weave with me, because you are worth it, you matter, and yet you have to be ready, you have to be called, you have to be activated and so done with your own shit. Or life is forcing you to be done with your own shit so much that you're ready to take action, that you're ready to meet yourself where you are, not from a place of judgment or shaming, but from a place of knowing that you want something different, that you're not willing to settle for what life is giving you, for what you're giving yourself, and that you're done with this message that in order to love others is that you need to abandon yourself, or that to lead is to burn out, is to lead from burnout. I hope this has served you in some way, and this is my season of building from crisis and chaos, building the bridge to survival. And then once I know I'm surviving, moving from that to sovereignty, and yet also accepting that this is all happening all at the same time. This is Warrior Heart Yarns with Anishan, and I hope this serves and honors you in some way. Thank you for your time in being here, and come and walk with me, come and weave with me. Let's do this together, because we're not meant to do this in isolation. The season for the warrior heart is now. You are worth it. You are needed in the world, and you deserve to be in your own life. You deserve to matter in your own life. And burnout, autopilot, self-abandonment no longer need to be ways of life. They can be a moment rather than a season or your life story. Big love you, Mom.